Last time on the R2view, Tyler decided to look at Dragon Ball games throughout history due to a dangerous obsession. For some reason, he decided it was a good idea to look at a crappy early Dragon Ball game literally nobody cares about. Not surprising anyone, he did not care for it. However, after finishing the video, Tyler's trusty companion Scooter suddenly disappeared after investigating a mysterious alarm. Tyler searched desperately for his friend, but Evie, Tyler's brother, doesn't seem to remember Scooter at all. Can Tyler continue with these videos without his trusted partner?
What was that?
What was what?
That opening narration stuff.
First you think you own a robot, now you're hearing voices.
Scooter. Anyways, let's just get started with the video. Wait, if Scooter does not exist, who does the computer stuff for me?
Dio, the same one that always does it.
Pretty sure that's just a stuffed toy.
Don't insult Dio that way.
Whatever. Let's just get started with the history.
In 1989, Toei Animation decided to end the Dragon Ball anime and relaunch it as a new series called Dragon Ball Z, despite it still covering the Dragon Ball manga.
This has actually caused some confusion over here in the West, as when they brought over the manga in the late 90s, they decided to split Dragon Ball, the manga, into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z to mirror the TV series. Yeah, it makes sense from a business standpoint, but it definitely is kind of annoyingly confusing to some degree when Dragon Ball fans are trying to discuss the manga.
Anyways, Dragon Ball Z continued until 1996, when it reached the end of the manga story. It began airing dubbed in the US in the same year, strangely enough, but it didn't explode in popularity here until Toonami started airing it around 1998. Which is probably where you first saw it if you're around my age.
I didn't, however. I wasn't allowed to watch the series. My mom thought the green guy, Piccolo, looked satanic. Oh, my silly mom.
Don't you mean Piccolo, the little devil of the universe thing?
Okay, my mom might actually have had a point with that one.
So, the story of Z itself starts 5 years after Son Goku became the world martial arts champion. He is now married and has a son named Gohan, after Goku's grandfather. However, an alien called Raditz lands on Earth and reveals himself to be Goku's brother. Goku's friends seem more shocked that Goku has a brother than the revelation that Goku is an alien, but I guess Goku was always kind of odd. Turns out Goku was sent to Earth as a baby to kill everyone, but after Grandpa Gohan found him, he hit his head and got amnesia, which resulted in the Goku we know and love today. Raditz kidnaps Gohan to try and force Goku to work with him, but Goku teams up with Piccolo, the reincarnation/son of the original Demon King Piccolo Goku killed, to stop Raditz. Raditz is killed, but unfortunately so is Goku. Goku's friends quickly make a plan to gather the Dragon Balls to bring Goku back, but they then find out that 2 more aliens are on their way, much stronger than Raditz.
Okay, I should probably just get this over with right now. Okay, these aliens in Japan are called Saiyajin. It's a pun on the Japanese word for vegetable, yasai. The jin is basically just means like person, like American, you'd say like America jin or something. I don't know what they say for America. But my point is this, the correct way of adapting that into English would be Saiyan. And that's what a lot of fans refer to it as. However, when they first brought it over to America and dubbed it into English, let's just put this bluntly. They're in Texas, and a lot of people in Texas don't entirely understand Japanese, and a lot of them don't really know how to pronounce it right. I mean, to be fair, I live in New York, and I only know it because I'm a giant nerd. So I'm not saying it's wrong or anything. My point is this, though. To them, it sounded better to say Saiyan. And that's what they called it. That's what it's always been in English, is Saiyan, not Saiyan. Despite that, there is a lot of fans, particularly those that are more fans of the original Japanese work, that refer to them as Saiyans. Me, myself, I alternate between the two, sometimes mid-sentence. I've been told it's incredibly annoying. However, for this, because Saiyan is the word that you're going to be hearing the most often if you're watching any of Dragon Ball in English, I will do my best to refer to them as Saiyans. Alright, we got all that out of the way? Good, let's actually continue on, shall we?
So Goku comes back just in time to see the two Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa, kill most of his friends. Plus Chaozu. He manages to beat Nappa fairly easily, but Vegeta, the Prince of the Saiyans, proves much more difficult. During the course of the fight, Goku even discovers the truth about his grade 8 form and comes to terms with the fact that he killed his own grandpa.
Though he got over it quickly.
So eventually, Goku defeats Vegeta with the help of Gohan and Krillin, but Vegeta sneaks away to his boss's planet, that boss being Frieza. Turns out, Frieza has gone to a planet called Namek to search for other Dragon Balls. At the same time, Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma arrive in Namek to also search for the Dragon Balls. Incredibly long story short, Goku shows up and unlocks a power called Super Saiyan, just barely defeating Frieza as the planet explodes. Frieza was rebuilt and raced to Earth before Goku could make it. However, a mysterious teenager from the future arrived suddenly and killed Frieza before he could do anything. The teenager, named Trunks, reveals that in 3 years, androids would appear and kill everyone. 3 years and multiple enemies shifting later, Goku sacrifices himself to the monster Cell to save his friends and his son, Gohan ultimately being able to unlock Super Saiyan 2 and defeat Cell. Then, 7 years later, the Buu Saga happened and the Earth is destroyed. Then they undo that and Goku comes back to life and Vegeta turns out good and there's a lot of crazy stuff. Then, 10 years later, the reincarnation of Buu called Oob shows up and Goku decides to trade him, and the end.
I wish the end there.
I just condensed almost 300 episodes. Okay, I don't want to hear it.
So, last time I talked about the first ever Dragon Ball game, but let's talk about what happened game-wise between that game and the games for this video. Namely, a lot of card-based RPGs. I have no idea why that was so popular, but almost every single other game was a card-based RPG. Personally, I wish they tried to improve the original game's style, but it is what it is. I'll be honest though, I don't like card-based RPGs that much. I just don't like that style of gameplay. But obviously someone liked that style, as it's the second most popular style for gameplay when it comes to Dragon Ball games. Now, in the arcade there was a couple of fighting games, but on home consoles, the closest we got was a weird card-scanning fighting game thing for the Famicom.
No, I don't own that one.
But as the manga and anime kept getting more and more action-focused, and with the popularity of Street Fighter, it was just a matter of time before Dragon Ball fans got a fighting game. And finally, we got... Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden was released in 1993 for the Super Famicom. France and Spain got it later the same year for the SNES. It was also a pre-order bonus for the Switch release of Dragon Ball FighterZ, apparently.
I just saw that on the Dragon Ball Wiki, and I'm too lazy to double check. So, take that as you will.
So, since it was released in 1993, the game's story couldn't reach the end of Z, but it does cover everything from the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai at the end of the original series to right at the beginning of the Cell games. Really, that's all they could be expected to cover, but it works fairly well. Its presentation is basic, but it does a great job considering this was still a fairly early fighting game. Most fighting games at this time just used a basic arcade-style approach to their stories, so it's cool that this tried to do a little bit more.
It's a shame I can't say the same about the gameplay.
So I'm really not a fighting game guy. I enjoy playing some, but I'm not really good at them. That being said, even I can tell that this is not a good fighting game. It's lacking in some very basic functions, and it's horribly unbalanced. You can't even really just jump right in and have fun casually, as the special moves are a bit too complex. Famously, when the developers brought the game to Toriyama to try out, he was unable to figure out how to perform a Kamehameha. They decided to fix that for the next game. But there were some definite positives to the game as well. The game used a very unique split-screen mode that allowed for larger arenas with both sky and land sections, as well as the flying system. It definitely helped the game feel less like a Street Fighter ripoff and more of a Dragon Ball video game. And while there wasn't a large amount of characters selectable, the choices made sense and were fairly unique.
All in all, this game isn't good. But it's not a bad start to the legacy of Dragon Ball fighting games. From here on out, things are only going to get better and better. Until Final Bout, but we're not talking about that one right now. Instead, we're going to be talking about
Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 2 was released a few months after the first game at the end of 1993 for the Super Famicom. It was released in early 1994 for Spain and France on the SNES, then later included in compilations and pre-order bonuses in Japan.
also a pre-order bonus for the 3DS game Extreme Butoden. I know this one for sure, because I forgot to pre-order it and didn't get it. So, yeah, that's a bummer.
So, the story for this game starts immediately with Goku's sacrifice to Cell and continues through the events of the BoJack movie.
Wait, that's like 3 fights total. That can't be right.
So, yeah, because they insisted on releasing the game so quickly after the original, they didn't really have enough canon material to continue the story much. So, they included the events of the BoJack movie, then they got creative and made up some extra bonus story about evil clones or something. I commend them for trying, but it does feel weird. Still, the presentation is good for the time and genre, and there's some really good animation at the beginning and some really good music.
Yeah, I love the Beatles.
We don't have time to get into the plagiarism thing in this video, okay? We'll talk about it next time.
The gameplay is where this game shines. It still plays like the first, but everything has been refined and improved. And it's even easier to perform a Kamehameha, much to Toriyama's joy. It's still not perfectly balanced or anything, especially in the fighting game scene, but the game is just a lot of fun to jump in with another fan and mess around. And since it's including one of the movies in the story, the cast has some very cool inclusions we don't usually see, even to this day. Also, as you might have noticed, no Goku.
Yeah, this is the only Dragon Ball game not to have Goku available as a readily playable character. He is a secret fighter you can unlock, but yeah, he's not the main character in this game. It's Gohan. At the very beginning of the game, you actually can hear Goku say, "Now it's your turn, Gohan," in Japanese, and that's because at this point, Gohan was the main character in this game, in the manga, in the anime. It was such a brief period of time that Gohan was the main character of the franchise. And this game is dab in the middle of it. And that, I think, is pretty cool.
Despite not being a great game, Super Butoden 2 is a really fun Dragon Ball game, especially for the time. After the game came out, they released an original game based on the same engine for the Sega Mega Drive called Dragon Ball Z Buyu Retsuden. It was basically Super Butoden 2 with a few tweaks and original characters.
Including Krillin, making this the best game by default.
And after that game, it was a few months before there was any word about a true sequel to Super Butoden 2. But eventually one came with Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3 was released in 1994 in Japan and early 1995 for France and Spain. Yes, still the Super Famicom/SNES, of course.
This game isn't included in any pre-order bonuses or anything, so that's a bad omen.
The story for this game...
What story?
Yeah, this game has no story. You have a basic arcade tournament mode and a versus mode, but no story mode. I get that there wasn't really much extra story at this point in the manga or anime, as the Buu saga meandered for a long time, but it's still disappointing that they didn't try something. Which leaves just the gameplay, and, well, it's just Super Butoden 2 again. There's probably some small tweaks, but nothing I can notice. The biggest difference is the roster, which is kind of disappointing. Since they're focusing on the early Buu saga, we have some cool choices like the Supreme Kaio and the Burra, but everyone else is just who you'd expect. And all the Saiyans are in their standard super form, so you can't even choose that or not. If you love the early Buu Saga roster, you'll probably love this, but if not, well, just stick with Super Butoden 2.
Or Ryu Retsuden to play as Krillin. Why don't they love you like I do, my bald friend?
The Super Butoden Trilogy weren't the greatest fighting games out there. In fact, in many ways, they were pretty substandard. But for Dragon Ball fans, they could be fun, and they introduced Dragon Ball to the world of tournament fighters. A world it would come to know really well.
The best of these 3 games is definitely Super Butoden 2. But I kind of prefer the Mega Drive game a little bit more, because I can play as Krillin, but, you know, that is what it is. All these games are pretty easy to get, though, and relatively cheap, so, you know, check them out if you want. Or just get one of the newer games, because they are better. Speaking of which, next time we're going to be jumping forward to the first major Dragon Ball game released in America with the Butoden Trilogy. So, definitely look forward to that. You seriously don't remember Scooter?
This again, seriously?
He was always right there where Dio is, and what the? Dio just disappeared right in front of our eyes.
What is a Dio? What are you talking about?
Dio! Who? The droid that was right there. How do you not remember?
So table.
Something's messing with your head. Something's messing with your head. Something is altering reality around
Let
us.
me go get my little tinfoil hat so I don't end up like the rest of you. That's what you're saying. That's what you're sounding like. You're a freak, okay? You're an absolute freak of nature. Nothing is happening.
Yes, it is. I'm going to prove it.
Can Tyler figure out what's happening with the shifting realities? Will EB ever actually help? Why am I suddenly the Dub GT narrator? Find out next time on the R2view. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, this one came out almost on time. I'm getting better, slowly but surely. Next one might be a little late too, honestly. I'm not gonna guess anymore. I'm just gonna see what happens. At this point, it is Hanukkah, so I don't know if there's any people that celebrate Hanukkah watching this, but hey, you know what? Happy Hanukkah to you if that's the case. I really don't think I have much more to say right now, so I won't make this go on too long. I'll just say thanks everybody as normal. I'm looking forward to next time. I'm enjoying myself. Hope you guys have happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating, and until next time, be excellent to each other.